Okay, this is 3.5 of Algebra. We're going to be talking about sets during this section. And a set is a group of number or a list of numbers. And we write them in two different forms. So one of them is the roster form. That's one where you write brackets on the outsides and you list the numbers inside using commas. If it's a pattern that continues, we'll put ... at the end. The other way is called set builder notation. We still use brackets, but now we're going to use a variable. So we're using x in this case, and we'd read this like this: x such that x is a multiple of 2. So the first letter tells us the variable we're using. The line means such that, and then it tells us a rule that we use. So x is a multiple of 2, so like 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. So those are two different ways to write the same set in those examples. So let's try writing our set. Got it problem here says n is the set of even natural numbers that are less than or equal to 12. So remember, even numbers are like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc. And natural numbers are positive numbers. So n is equal to, first what I'm going to do is roster form, so I'm just going to list it. I'm looking for numbers that are less than or equal to 12. So 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. I don't include 0 because 0 is not a natural number and 0 isn't even. 0 is not even and it's not odd. And then, to write it in set builder notation, I'll use x. So x such that x is an even natural number, and then I use a comma and I give my inequality. So x less than or equal to 12. Okay. We can use inequalities to write set builder notation. So the very first thing we do, here's our inequality, is we need to solve it. So they solve it and they get x is greater than or equal to -2. Then we can stick it into our notation. Remember, the first letter is the letter that we're using in our inequality. So since they used x, I'm going to put x first. The line means such that, and then you write your inequality. So let's try that with our got it problem. I've got 9 minus 4n is greater than 21. So first I'll subtract 9 from both sides. I get -4n is greater than 12. I need to divide both sides by -4. What do I do when I divide by a negative number? I flip the sign. So I get n is less than -3. So now in my set builder notation, the first thing I need to do is write the letter that I'm using. So I'm using n. And I put my line, my such that line, and then I write my inequality. So if I were to say this out loud, this says n such that n is less than -3. Okay, the empty set, or the null set, is the set that contains no elements, so it has nothing in it. We either use an O with a line through it or a 0 with a line through it, or we use brackets with nothing inside of them. Okay, a subset is when you just take certain elements from the set. So you start with a big set. So my big set is this 3, 4, and 5. Then I'm going to choose to take bits and pieces of it, and those are subsets. They're numbers from this set. So the first one I can do is the empty set. Remember, again, I could also use empty brackets. Then I can take the subsets with just one element. So I just take 3, or I just take 4, or I just take 5. Then I can take 2 elements, which will give me 3 and 4, 3 and 5, 4 and 5. And then I can take the whole set that I started with. The whole set is also considered a subset. So there's 8 subsets of that set. Here's another example. P equals A, comma, B. So this is a set with elements A and B. The first one I could take is the empty set. Then I'll take one element, so I can just take A, and I can just take B, and then I can take my whole set, A and B. So this one has 4 subsets. Here's another one, A, B, C. So I can take the empty set first. Then I'll take sets with just one element, so just A, just B, just C. Then I can take 2, so A, B. Remember to use commas in between there. B and C, and A and C. And finally, I could take my whole set, so A, B, C. This one also has 8 subsets, like the first problem. Okay, so whatever the big set you start out with, that is called the universal set. Or you can just call it universe, I guess. So let's say I take a set. So if we look at this picture here, the whole thing is my universal set. And then I just take that green circle there, and that's the set A I choose. All the other stuff, if you look over to this right picture now, the stuff that's in green is called the complement of set A. So whatever numbers I don't choose, that's in my complement. So here, let's look at an example for a second. If my universal set is 1, 2, and 3, and let's say I take A to B, I'll just take 1 and 2. The complement of A, which we call A prime, A with an apostrophe, is the numbers that I didn't choose. So I took 1, I took 2, but I didn't take 3. So the complement of A would be 3. So let's look at this example. If my universal set was king, queen, bishop, knight, rook, and pawn, and set A is the set of chess pieces that move side to side. So A is, well, the king can move side to side, and the queen can move side to side, and the rook can move side to side. So that's my set A, right? They told me that it was a set of chess pieces that move side to side. Then the complement of set A is all the pieces I didn't choose. Remember, we call that A prime. So that would be, and I'm running out of room, bishop, knight, and pawn. So whenever I have a set and its complement, I shouldn't have the same one in both of them, right? So I don't have the king in my set and in my complement. Okay, let's look at our got it problem. So my universal set is the months of the year, and my set A is months with exactly 31 days. So I'm going to pull out my calendar here because I don't have those memorized. So A is January. February doesn't have 31. March does. And April doesn't. May does. June doesn't. July does. August does. September doesn't. October does. November doesn't. And December does. Just squeeze December in there. Oops, there we go. That's a bad bracket. But, okay. So that's what's in my set A. So then my complement is every month that isn't in there. So January's in there, February wasn't, so February's in my complement. March, got that. April, don't have that one. May, got that one. Don't have June in there yet, so June's in my complement. July, August, oh, don't have September yet. September. October, got that already. Oh, November, I don't have that one yet. And then I've got December in my other one. And you should use every item that was in your universal set. So I should have 12 items total. I'll count with dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I got all of mine. And there you go.